Tuesday, March 13th at 1:30.
Want me to send you I can just send you an invite.
Oh, yeah, please do. Just do that.
I can do that. Thank you. I'll be out of town that week, so.
Is that spring break week? When is spring break week?
It is. And they have issues getting enough people to go to that meeting, so.
Well, you're there, 6 o'clock. Okay, it is 6 o'clock, and we're gonna bring our February 24th City Council meeting to order. And Jenny, we will begin with roll call, please.
Sarchet?
Here.
Savage?
Here.
Walters?
Here.
Vogel? Here. Otis?
Item number 3, approval of agenda. A motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second?
And roll call.
Vogel? Yes. Otis?
Yes.
Sarchet?
Yes.
Savage?
Yes.
Walters?
Yes.
So this is our public comment period. Since it doesn't look like there's anybody in the audience other than Cliff. Cliff, you got anything you want to share during public comment? Then we're good to go, and we'll move on to the consent items. Item number 5, I'll ask for a motion and a second.
So moved.
And roll call.
Otis?
Yes.
Sarchet?
Yes.
Savage?
Yes.
Walters?
Yes.
Vogel?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 6, business items. A, resolution 2025-15, approving purchase of emergent wetland mitigation credits for the future regional park. Travis?
So I've included a memo in your guys' packet with some additional information, but for the council's consideration tonight is approval of an expenditure in the amount of $64,800 for purchase of wetland mitigation credits to accommodate the mass grading at the future regional park. This is it's been a long process, but the long and short of it is throughout the review process, it became evident that there was going to be impacts to the wetland or to existing wetlands located within the future regional park property through coordination between Snyder and Associates city staff and then Confluence, the consultant for designing of the grading at the regional park. Those impacts were minimized to the point of still getting the features that were desired by the city council while protecting as many of the wetlands as we could, particularly the more expensive forested wetlands. And so tonight's action as a result of that, following the final determination of impacts to these wetlands, Snyder and Associates assisted the city in applying for and having approved a 404 permit, which is essentially this the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers permitting for any impacts to wetlands or streams that have been classified as waters of the USA. That was approved back at the end of January with some stipulations, the first one being purchase of 1.08 acres of mitigation credits for emergent wetlands, and then the second 2 and 3 essentially stating that any wetlands that are not to be impacted must be protected in a very specific way, and that the city of Polk City is responsible for ensuring that those protections remain in place and are operational throughout the duration of the project until DNR establishment occurs. So the park grading is stabilized. It's not going to erode into those wetlands or damage those wetlands. Snyder and Associates shopped the 3 mitigation banks that had credits available in the upper Des Moines service area. I've included the pricing we received from those wetland mitigation banks for your consideration, and we're recommending purchase from the Blair Wetland Bank, which is the cheapest at $60,000 per acre. Those prices are driven by the market, so a little bit of availability. A lot of projects probably impacting wetland are driving some of those prices, but we feel confident that that's a fair market value for what we're seeing with wetland mitigation credits at this point. Be happy to answer any questions, go into any more details if you'd like, but we recommend approval of this expenditure, and then we will work with, if approved, we'll work with city staff to get that check delivered where it needs to be, get the proof of credits turned into the Army Corps of Engineer, get your 404 permit kicked out to Mackinac, and then we're ready to grade out there.
So for the viewers at home and any of us that might not know, Can you give just a quick explanation of what a wetland bank is and what this $64,000 is doing for that bank?
Yeah, so a wetland mitigation bank is essentially some governmental agency through cooperation and coordination with the Army Corps of Engineers has created a wetlands in excess of whatever they required. Two of these, and I should have written down which ones they were, but two of these are with Dallas County. So Dallas County probably had some low-lying areas that were kind of sort of wetlands at that point. That they worked with the Corps, they got it all permitted, and they built a bank for the purposes of projects just like yours, where you need to impact those streams, you need to impact those wetlands. They built a bank for this entire service area so that we have a net neutral impact on wetlands within the Upper Des Moines service area. So you're essentially paying back the bank for the work that was conducted to construct that bank.
Anyone else?
And as Chelsea pointed out to me, that everybody doesn't know, I mean, it's the first time we've been doing this, because it's usually on the developer side if it happens, so it's all new to me as well, even being up here a little bit longer, so I think I follow what you're saying. I'm not sure I understand how it all works, but if it's a requirement, it's a requirement. The only question I have, and I think I know the answer, but I'm gonna ask anyway, is there any leverage here to us not doing this and hopefully getting an answer back on our leased ground next to the sports column? I'm sure it's a different area of the Army Corps, but
It is.
We should be hearing back from them on that within the next few weeks, is what they told us on Thursday.
and how long has that been true for?
I
I
cannot
know,
tell you that.
I'm not, I directed at you, and that's not where it needs to
Yeah.
go, but.
They did tell us that they should get back to us in a few weeks on that.
Anyone else? All right, Travis, stay put, but we'll have a motion and a second on business item 6A. Motion, second,
So moved.
Second.
and roll call.
Vogel,
Yes.
Otis,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Savage,
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Moving on to item B then, Resolution 2025-16, setting public hearing on the proposed adoption of an ordinance to establish sewer connection districts and a connection fee schedule.
So for council's consideration tonight is a resolution setting a public hearing to establish sanitary sewer hookup fees for the four hookup fee districts that were discussed in a prior work session. We took feedback received from that work session of evaluating whether or not sanitary sewer hookup fees could be charged on a usage basis, and then potentially shrinking the north sanitary trunk sewer area just due to payback limitations or concerns about, carrying costs for extended periods of time. We consulted with Aaron Clanton at Brick Gentry, and after that discussion, staff and Brick determined that it's likely that the risks of challenge in doing those more unique approaches to sanitary sewer hookup fees likely outweigh any benefit that the city would gain in doing them that way. Aaron was able to find one ordinance in, was it Burling? No. Alburnett, Iowa, that charged on a usage basis, and then Aaron could not find definitively anywhere where a service area was shrunk beyond what it could actively serve. So right now, we've left it as it was presented with those larger service areas on a gross acreage basis. The one caveat to the resolution that I will give you is we're looking at, Chelsea and I had a question about existing fees within the Big Creek Sanitary Sewer District and whether or not those are currently established or whether or not we need to establish them, because we had a development agreement that wasn't, or that was approved but not signed, and there may have been one that was recorded. So we'll get that dialed in before the public hearing. But the fees themselves won't change. It'll be just a matter of whether or not two parcels are included in this district or if they were already governed and administered through a development agreement. We'll provide an additional report at the time of the public hearing But we recommend setting the hearing and establishment of these sanitary sewer hookup fees.
Council? Anything to add, Chelsea?
I just wanted to add that you're setting the public hearing tonight, which I believe I misspoke at when we had that work session. There is a requirement to have a public hearing, so you're setting public hearing for March 24th. And I know that typically when we set public hearings, we put those items under the consent agenda. We put this under business items so that you all understood. We did take your feedback from the work session, and we left the ordinances as is, and I just wanted to bring that to your attention. I know you had made the request that we look into charging per use, per zoning use. That's a very non-traditional way to establish sanitary sewer districts. The only example we could find was another very small town in the state of Iowa, Alburnett. So just very non-traditional, and I thought our city attorney gave us great feedback. She said you could do it that way. She was just a little bit concerned that it may open us up to more litigation if we chose to go that route, or there would be a little bit more possibility of it at least. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. I think we'll ask for a motion and a second on this on item 6B.
So moved.
Second?
And roll call.
Savage,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Vogel, Otis, Sarchet.
Yes.
So then we'll move on to 6C, third reading of ordinance 2025-100, amending chapter 165.18, zoning regulations, off-street parking, multifamily requirements. I'll ask for a motion and a second, and then if there's any discussion, we can have it at that time.
So moved.
Second.
Anything from council? Roll call.
Vogel, yes. Otis,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Savage,
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
So let's go to item 7, which is reports and particulars. Anything from staff?
I just wanted to provide council with an update on the first year of the Kiwanis Park Ice Rink. I did put the final red flag up of 2025 yesterday. Temperature got real hot yesterday seasonally, and the extended forecast looks more of the same. So, this year, a lot of learning moments.
Spring now, is that?
Like it, but yeah, knock on wood. No, this year we went into it not knowing some stuff. We learned a lot. I say we. I owe a lot of thanks to Cody Olson. He was kind of my co-pilot on this, so whenever he had a free minute, which he doesn't have that many of, but when he did, he was out there helping me, so I really do appreciate that. We set a goal for 30 days of green flag, and we ended up with 34, so really pleased with it. Just wanted to let you guys know that it is closed for the season, and we will be tearing it down this week.
Thank you for your work on that. I know, as you drive by, you could see a red flag, green flag. So somebody was going out and doing that. Somebody was making sure that it was usable. So thank you guys for your work to make it as usable as possible.
Of course.
Yeah, I also wanted to echo thanks to you and Friends of the Parks for helping run the donation gathering for that, and as well as to everybody in our community who donated. I know several times I drove by there and saw quite a few people out there and enjoying it. So I was pretty happy to see that. So thank you very much.
We hit that sweet spot at least a couple times where it wasn't too cold and wasn't too warm. And when those days were out there, it was packed, and it looked like we even needed a bigger rink than we have. So that's a good thing usage-wise, and turned out honestly better than I expected this year. So thank you guys both.
So I would just have a question for you. I think you told council once you can add sections to that to make that larger. Do you anticipate doing anything like that, or just leave it at this size for a few years?
Yeah, so the model that we purchased, it comes in 5-foot panels, so it's very easy to add on in the future. I think if we remain at that site, and that site has a lot of positives. It has lights overhead so you can skate into the night. It has a parking lot and a hydrant that's real close. So I think we would entertain maybe making it a little bit bigger. We're not gonna have an NHL-sized ice sheet anytime soon, but we could add, 5 or 10 feet in length and width, still be good at the current site.
Does it have to be on flat concrete?
No, you can move it around, you can put it on grass, gravel too, but, I think in a perfect world, a nice flat slab is preferred.
Okay. Thanks for all your hard work on that, and to Cody also. So we'll move on, any other staff? We'll move on to Chelsea. Anything to add?
No, thank you.
Council? Okay, and I don't have anything to add either. So item number 8 is closed session. So we need a motion to go into closed session and a second, please.
So moved.
And roll call.
Vogel? Yes. Otis?
Yes.
Sarchet?
Yes.
Savage?
Yes.
Walters?
Yes.
All right, so all those invited to stay, please stay. Those who aren't, thank you for being here tonight.